Hey there, and welcome to my channel. I am your host, Dancing Johari, and, well, as you can see, the sisters are busy at work trying to figure out their latest demon. But they're still missing another sister. They need the power of 3. That means we need to make Phoebe. To the workstation! Welcome to my project box, and inside we have my daughter's old Coolia Yelps. She's been very well played with, and well, that hair is just done, so let's prep her. Off with their hair. Off with her face. And off with her head. At this point, everything was going well until... Oh, not another... As you can see, well, when I went to go pull off the head, the neck peg came out. And well, I just went ahead and kept going. I'm going to use a different body anyway. So, I with a vengeance, I took out all her hair. Taking out the plugs with the pliers didn't take very long. Then I removed the acrylic paint on her head. Wow, such a blank canvas. I love it. And well, originally I was going to use this color. Sepia, or metallic bronze, in the case of the paint. So, since I was planning on that, I went ahead and painted the scalp and her new color. And while that dried, I went ahead and went into my stock box, found another body, which also has a neck issue, but it still has a peg intact. I will repair the other doll, the other body another day. Since it was a Laguna Blue body, I went ahead and began plugging up the holes with epoxy sculpt and taking care of the neck issue with more epoxy sculpt. And then I gave her a little bit more cleavage since Phoebe was pretty well endowed. While that cured, and once the paint was on the scalp was dry, I went ahead and covered it in a coat of Galaxy glue, which helps to prevent chipping. At least while you do a reroute. Once that was all dry, I got out my hair, my nylon hair. I got out my rerouting tool. Sorry, it's kind of blurry. And I began rerouting. And partway through the reroute, I started over and decided to give her a darker brunette color. So I repainted the scalp, plugged everything, and also put Galaxy glue in through the neck hole to secure all the plugs into place. Now that I've got her back on the body, wow, okay, cool. This one, the footage also came out a little blurry, sorry. I tried to sharpen it as best I could. But now it's time to mask off the hair. She needs a new skin tone. She can't be gray after all. This is supposed to be Phoebe. She's supposed to look human. She may be a witch, but she's not a monster, so to speak. So, I took her outside after she was all masked off with a bit of spare cloth and airbrushed her first with primer and then with her body paint. And in the end, I still ended up using a sponge, a makeup sponge, and the same paint I used on Piper. I was having some issues. Not so much with the airbrush, I was having it with the paint itself. It wasn't meant for airbrush, so it kept separating. I'm going to have to fix that in the future by getting ones that are just for airbrush. I continued with started with blushing the body after a couple coats of Mr. Super Clear, and started in on blushing her face, including her lips, and adding eyeshadow. I used my little disposable mini brushes that I got on eBay. So good for little tiny areas that normal brushes can't reach. I blushed her ears and gave her some highlights underneath her eyes. Then I started coloring in the waterline. Using a tan pencil, watercolor pencil that is, I began marking out the features of the eyes, the eyeliner. Then after another coat of Mr. Super Clear, I began coloring everything in, starting with the iris. Phoebe does have beautiful brown eyes after all. I want to show that on this stuff. Then I used black to start on the eyeliner. It's always so much fun watching the blank canvas slowly become a goal. Oh, keep your kneaded eraser handy for mistakes. This is one of my favorite parts of each project. It's probably why I show so much of the face up and not always of like designing the clothes and whatnot. I go ahead and began to brighten up the sclera, or the whites of the eyes, actually, with a white pencil. And refine the iris shape. Added in some little lines above the eye. And added in the eyelashes. At this point, it's mostly just building up color. Another coat of lipstick, and the reference I'm using has a color very similar to this on Phoebe. Added some highlights around the eyes and just above the lips. And then I began to carefully pencil in her eyebrows. Back in the 90s, we didn't have really big bushy eyebrows. We actually went for thin, barely there eyebrows. Very feminine looking. In fact, I still kind of do my eyebrows like this. Added highlights just below the new eyebrows. Mostly at this point, it's just one of those times I just started thinking about Phoebe and her role. She had the power of premonition. She actually also she had the most passive power at first, but then she became one of the most powerful in terms of levitation and just knowledge. It was kind of a cool way that her character developed. I mean, she went from being good to being the queen of evil. If you haven't watched the 90s version of Charmed, I highly recommend you do. You can find it on Amazon Prime, I think. I know you can get the DVDs and Blu-rays. I'm not sure if it's streaming anywhere. It used to be on Netflix, but I don't know if they still have it anywhere. I didn't see it on Netflix the last time I searched for it, and I haven't tried everything. But try Amazon Prime. You might be able to find a couple of episodes if you haven't seen it. I highly recommend it. Very good show. There's also the new Charmed series that is still on Netflix. I've watched a few episodes. At first I felt myself comparing it too much to the original, so I might have to go back and watch it one of these days. I started having trouble getting color to build up, so I switched to gouache. Sometimes you just got to. I was having trouble with a little bit of the paint trying to come off, so it was just better to do a more gentle method. Sometimes the pencils can be a little too rough on a new skin tone. I went ahead and brightened up the parts of the eyes that I really wanted bright white, but left parts of them gray to give it a little bit of depth. I also added a little bit of contrast, brighter brown, just for contrast and detail. I got a little extreme on some of the light brown, so I did touch that up a little bit with a little bit more of the darker. Then I finally drew in her pupils, or painted them in. Made sure they were looking the same way, and I was happy with the shape. There we go. It's just amazing watching it go from being Ghoulia to being a completely different character. I also darkened up the eyeliner rather, on the top. Not so much on the bottom. I wanted to keep that subtle. But I really wanted that top eyeliner to really pop. And well, that red is still not quite bright enough, so I went ahead and used some gouache to really make it nice and deep red. I also went ahead and refined the shape just a little bit as well and gave her a little bit more of a smile. Finally, I added the eye shines, or the catch lights, however you want to think of them. And then once that was all dry and she had had another couple coats of Mr. Super Clear, I went ahead and added gloss varnish to her eyes and lips. Finally, after everything was dry, it's time for a boil wash. That hair came out looking like Tina Turner was sticking straight up. Let's tame it with hot water. After the hot water had done its job, I went ahead and brushed her, or combed her hair out and put her aside to dry. While her hair dried, I went ahead and worked on her outfit. I used Delightful's leggings pattern for the leggings, and I used DJ Requiem's Little Red Riding Hood blouse, peasant blouse pattern for the top. I hand sewed the top because I had already freight checked everything, and I was a little afraid to use my machine for the two seams that I needed. Afterwards, I heated up my metal chopstick, curled her bangs, gave that a trim, and then I gave her hair some curls, or waves rather, with my crimping iron. Then, of course, I trimmed her hair because we were going to give her a short haircut this time. Towards the end of the series, she had a bit of a bob. She had cut her hair very short. It grew out, but this is about all it was. It was much longer at the very end, but I decided to keep it short. And to help the waves stay, I used a little bit of hairspray. Time to get her dressed. I also made a corset using DJ Requiem's pattern for slimline dolls. Oh wow, this does look really good with the leggings. And there she is, all dressed. But she needs shoes. How about these rose sandals? These are by Lady Dynamite Creates. They're available on her Etsy store. You can get a pair of your own for your own Monster High dolls. I'm painting these rose red. Introducing Phoebe Halliwell. It's so good to have the Power of 3 back, and I love how all of these dolls came out. I hope you enjoyed watching all their creations too. And well, I normally would do a skit at the end of this, but I'm running a little short on time this Halloween. So I hope you all stay safe. What will you create today? Stay tuned. And have a happy Halloween, everybody. Bye.